Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of The Industry Outsider. I'm your host, Elle Grant, and today's episode is going to be a little bit shorter than usual. As some of you already know, I was very sick last week, and I just got my schedule. It looks like I'm working the next 8 days straight. So I have absolutely no life, but I did want to take what little bit of free time I do have available to chat with you about what I guess is the most important watch news to drop in the last couple weeks, the new Tudor Ranger. Okay, so first of all, I haven't seen the watch in person, so I guess my opinion about this could be subject to change. But an opinion about this is what I have, so let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so on July 8th, Tudor dropped the release of the new Ranger on the anniversary of the British North Greenland expedition with a little video that was honestly badly done and borderline incoherent. That video didn't make me want to buy a Tudor. If anything, it made me waste time thinking about the real men in the footage versus the bearded hipster they had wearing the current reference that they just dropped. Does anyone actually believe that this guy's going anywhere near the glaciers of Greenland? I know I don't. Regardless, there are some things that I really like about this watch and some things that I'm less than thrilled about as well. For starters, I like the case, and I like that it's a new case and not some case from another watch like a Black Bay. Speaking of which, I don't mean to damn with faint praise here, but I like that it's not called some new version of the Black Bay. I swear to God, Tudor could release a new dress watch tomorrow and it wouldn't shock me if they called it a Black Bay. I really like that they didn't do that here. I also like that they're using the same in-house movement in my Black Bay 58. It's a great movement, and for the money that you're spending, even though this watch is very reasonably priced, you deserve a bit more than an ETA movement. Then there's a size. It's a great size. The Tudor Ranger Heritage was an awful watch that was oversized at 41 millimeters, but the new Ranger is 39 millimeters. And from what I understand, it's supposed to come in at about 11 millimeters thick. That sounds awesome to me. I'm a big fan of the bracelet and I like the strap options as well. And finally, I like the price. This watch is a great price. This is a Tudor field watch with a COSC certified in-house movement for $3,050 on the bracelet and $2,725, which is a really odd price for both strap options. That's a lot of value there. But like I've said before, no watch is without sin, and this Tudor is no exception. While I'm happy that they got away from the snowflake handset, I'm not a big fan of the hour hand. I also don't like this Fotina loom or oddly colored loom, whichever you want to call it. And I understand that this watch is based off of older models, but I'm not a huge fan of painted on numerals and hour markers, especially when they're this odd yellow color. Also, not a huge fan of the dial texture and the weird domed quality to the dial either. Honestly, my biggest complaint is probably the domed sapphire crystal. I get it. It's vintage inspired, but it's just kind of weird and there's too much consistent weirdness when it comes to Tudor. I think the watch can look very cool from some angles, but to me, it's just an odd hodgepodge of styling elements I feel looks weird in its totality. If I were to buy this watch, there's no way that I'd keep it. It's just not that good looking to me. Great price, great movement, great idea in theory, but it's a lackluster execution. This happens with Tudor a lot. It seems like they're often relegated to doing weird things with their watches to try and not seem too similar to Rolex, but also that they're similar enough. And it's often the design language that pays the price. The Black Bay, the original Black Bay, not the 58, is a great watch. But it's too thick. I mean, it's closer to sea dweller thickness than it is to submariner thickness, and it has less water resistance than both. So why is the watch so darn thick? So that it doesn't look the same as a sub. Tudor has the rose and the shield as iconography. So why this big snowflake hands? They don't look good on all of their models. Even my Black Bay 58 has those stupid fake rivet things on the bracelet, which is why I bought mine on the strap. Tudor has so much unrealized potential, but they need to just be Tudor, not Rolex's ugly little sister. Again, from the outside looking in, it seems like Tudor is always being defined by what they are compared to Rolex. And this doesn't just go for a company as a whole, it's model to model as well. This watch reminds me a lot of the 39mm Explorer, but everything that differentiates it from the Explorer is exactly what I don't like. That's not good. You might as well put a wart on the watch and be done with it. Tudor needs to learn to embrace a design language that echoes their Rolex-laden history, but doesn't manage to uglify their watches by trying to make them look not too similar to Rolex. They can do this by not being afraid of having similar proportion sizes and differentiating themselves with colors and boldness in their designs. I'm not saying it's an easy fix, but I can't think of a watch company I like more that has put out more butt ugly watches than Tudor. And sadly, I have to add this one to the list. Anyway, I love Tudor as a brand. I just don't like the Ranger. Let me know what you think about the Ranger in the comments down below. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Just because your opinion differentiates from mine doesn't necessarily mean that I don't want to hear it. I do read most, if not all, of your comments, and part of the reason I started this channel was so I could interact with the community. I will do the absolute best I can to get some free time next week so we can get back to a regular upload schedule. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.